Okay. Okay. Good evening. My name is Lrgourl. This presentation is called Becoming a Powerful Creator by Lrgourl. I also go by the name HustleGod, aka the Guru, the Priest, the Shaman. And what that's about is tell you a little bit about myself here. I started this whole engagement to help bring enlightenment to my people. Let me just start off by saying I'm 35 years old. I have a mother of 2 children. I have a son just started college, and I have a son going to high school next year. I have 2 sons. I'm born and raised in Oakland, California, and I'll just say I had a really rough life from the moment I was born. My mom tells me from the moment I was born, I had to have a surgery because I caught some infection from the hospital. I mean, the moment I was born, and then even after that, going in and out of the hospital for different things, and just having hard times with that, and then my parents getting on drugs. But by the time I was 1 year old, and then my father and mother all having a violent, tumultuous relationship that ended by the time I was about 5 years old, and basically I had a younger sister, and a younger brother, and I'm also the oldest of 11 children. My sister passed away December 17th last year, 2016. So I'm the oldest also of 11 children. So my parents were on drugs by the time I was 1 year old, and it split apart by the time I was 5 years old. At that time, I had 1 younger sibling and 1 younger sister. But the whole thing is that I had a really tumultuous life myself. But I had a vision, and I wanted to make it out of that situation from a young age. And I thought that I was doing everything I could do, and everything that I tried to do and tried to make happen, and everything I worked hard to accomplish just never actually seemed to happen. Things always seemed to work against me. Someone always seemed to try to stop me. It just was always just something in the way. So when I got to college, we had an opportunity. I was 21 years old in college, and I had an opportunity to write a 10-page paper on whatever I wanted to. And I was thinking, if I'm going to write a 10-page paper, I'm going to write this paper on something that I believe in. So I decided to do the paper on the basis and foundation of religion. I had set out to prove to everybody that God didn't exist. My life had been so hard and so messed up that I couldn't possibly believe that there was a God that exists, that allowed that much stuff to happen, to allow a young girl to go through so much, to experience so much. But as I'm older, I'm sitting here, it's not such a sad story as it seemed as when I was a child. I survived it. I developed coping mechanisms, sometimes unhealthy, sometimes healthy. But as I'm writing this paper and going out to set out, I'm decided to write the paper on the basis and foundation of religion. I set out to prove that God didn't exist. But when I go find and prove that He didn't exist, what I ended up doing was actually finding God and finding that He was more real than I'd ever imagined. I had gotten all the books from all the religions and had read them and put them together, and I ended up in this position. And I started to, when I found God and I had experienced the goodness of God, I had wanted to share that with other people. So I started, going around talking about, what God wants from us and what God expects from us. Once I started to learn about God, I was watching, things started to fall into my lap. And one day I was watching the X-Files, and Proverbs 25:2 kept being said throughout the movie. So I decided to look up Proverbs 25:2, just happened to have a Bible sitting next to me on my bed, and happened to look up Proverbs 25:2, and it said that the glory of God is in those who seek Him. The glory of God is in those who seek Him. I had already been experiencing it, and so I wanted to know how to keep experiencing it. So I realized that if I wanted to continue to have that glory of God within me, I continue to seek God, which meant that I needed to continue to get to know God, to continue to build a relationship and a connection with God. Well, the crazy thing is, as I'm getting to know God, building this relationship with God, as I'm building this relationship with God, everything starts to go crazy and wrong in my life. I mean, everything you can imagine. I start getting sick. My health starts going wrong. I can't even, go there. But everything started going wrong, and I was still having faith and still going out talking about God and still just believing that, this is how it's supposed to be, whatever. And so I got so ill, and I had got to the point that I had lost a lot of weight, and I was just in a state of very, very poor health. And I had got to a point where I couldn't really move and couldn't really take care of myself. And so I had decided, I had went through an experience where my life flashed before my eyes. And what I saw was still to this day is shocking to me. I saw a monster. And the crazy thing is I saw the monster and it was me. And that was the first life-changing thing that I actually remember about this whole thing. And that was November 22nd, 2014. And I think what I realized is that a lot of people actually have this experience where they see the monster, but they turn away. They don't want to look. No one wants to see themselves as a monster. No one wants to face the ugliness in them. So that said to me that if I saw this monster, then that is something that I need to heal within me in order for me to get rid of this sickness. At that point, I had started taking the sickness as a spiritual attack on my life. And so I had already read the Bible at that point. I finished reading the Bible in 2000. I started reading the Bible in 2009, finished reading in 2012. The health went crazy in 2013. It started all falling apart then. By 2014, I had all lost 100 pounds. I was 194 pounds when all this really went bad. By the time it ended, I was 90 pounds, so I had lost a total of 100 pounds. So I'm really small. I'm really unhealthy. Everything you can think of is going wrong. And I'm still having faith in God. I'm still believing in God. So I ended up picking up the Kundalini. And when I had the faith in God, I kept remembering the story of Job. Job, if you know about Job in the Bible, he had got tested. When he had found his faith in God, all of a sudden he got tested. And he started to lose everything. He lost his sons, he lost his home, he lost his career, he lost everything. And the devil was just laughing. And God said, I know he's going to eventually break. And I kept just thinking, that's what the devil's trying to do to me. He's trying to make me eventually break. He's trying to break me. I'm not going to let him break me. I'm going to hold on to God's hand. And it's crazy. The more that the sicker I got, the closer I got to God. The more I came to God, the closer it was for me to get out of here, the closer I got to God. And as I was chanting one day, because I got into chanting, meditating. As I was chanting one day, I would start to have out-of-body experiences. And as I started to have these out-of-body experiences, I started to realize that a lot of the things that I had learned during my seeking of God and in my schooling and as a kinesiologist and so forth, that all of that together was what I needed to heal myself, and that also other people were also experiencing these exact same feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, maybe not in the exact same predicament, but exactly the same feeling. So I decided that if I was going to have my life, I was going to have to create a new life. I was going to need a new life. The life that I had, people had started rumors and lies. I had lost everything. I actually had gotten to a point where I had kind of felt like you could say I'd given up, but I didn't give up. I still had hope that I would eventually go back to what I used to do, and I held on to it for a long time. But after a long time, things just were hard, and I just kept getting sicker, and I just kept getting sicker. I was having these out-of-body experiences, and from my knowledge and having the out-of-body experiences, I was starting to understand what I was going through. So when I would have the out-of-body experiences, I started understanding that I was dissociated. And so as I started to dissociate, I started to try to pay more attention. So as I could fall through the matrix, I could see what was going on. And as I would fall through the matrix, I could see the memories of my life. And I could see my fragmented memories, personally, that I didn't want to admit had existed, that I had forgotten had existed, honestly, in most cases. And so I saw those just the same way my life flashed aside before when I saw the monster. I saw this hurt little girl in so many different instances. And so at that point, I knew that I needed to go through past life regression because I had experienced so much pain from seeing those moments. So I had remembered the moments that hurt me, and I went through those moments, I went back through those moments, and I went to relive those moments, and it kept hurting me. So I had to start looking for the positivity in those moments. It was amazing what I found out is that if you take those moments and you find something positive in those moments, it changes your future. So, they talk about time travel as if it's something that's impossible, but it's actually possible. The past, present, and the future are very much connected. So if you can go back and resolve your past and past life regression, to resolve issues from your past, then you can ultimately resolve your present and make you a better future for you tomorrow. And so what happens is that you become clean. You resolve the shame, you resolve the guilt. You no longer have to create these delusions because you're fragmenting yourself because you don't want to hold on to the memories of the person that you used to be. You can heal all those parts of you and become whole. And in essence, you can say you can create a new identity, a new person. And if you ever, I like to bring up where Jesus and Nicodemus met in the middle of nowhere when they were ready to get rid of him. And Jesus told Nicodemus that, you have two births. You have the birth by water and the birth by spirit. And a lot I've often heard of the ego death. And the ego has to die for the soul to live. Or you have to be reborn, born again. And I always thought that being reborn again meant that you actually died in the physical and you came back. And I couldn't figure out, how does that really work? How do you die and reborn? I didn't get it until I went through my process. And what happens is the old you dies off. The negativity, the hurt, the pain, all of those things you held on to are actually what dies off. And what is born in its place is something beautiful, something amazing, something that you never could have expected, something that was hidden inside of you all the while, but you never could experience it because it's hidden and it's covered up over all this dust, over all this dirt, over all this filth, over all this negativity, over all this shame, over all this guilt, over all this anger, over all this fear. You're afraid of it. It's so big, it's overwhelming. It's like fire shut up in your bones, and you don't even think about it because you don't even want to have to deal with the feeling that's not even you. And that brings me to the whole point of something I have here on the board. It's called the paradigm. That's one of the things that we have to understand about paradigms. Paradigms are multiple potentials that can become a reality. It's your choice about what success is. There's multiple paradigms of success. Success for one person could be just getting married, and that's it. That's all they want in life. For one person, it could be becoming a millionaire. For one person, it could become being the smartest person in the world, having the highest IQ. There's multiple potentials that you can manifest into reality. It's just a matter of which one are you going to choose. It just seems that we're always choosing the wrong one. Why are we always choosing the wrong paradigm? Why? Is because we live in a 3D reality. And if you don't understand, I thought I was going to have time to have a picture up here. I want to draw something real quick, if I can. I have this up here, and basically about Right. Okay, sorry about that. So I had a quick interruption, and I actually got the beep out of the recorder and the phone. So back where I was on the dimension, so 5D is probably like 100 times bigger than 1D. So if you can imagine your limited paradigms, in 3D you have a linear ability to have a linear paradigm. In 3D, this is the most that you can think, this is the most that your consciousness can expand to. And even though you're in 3D, a lot of us still aren't actually thinking on a 1D level and experiencing and living on a 1 or 2D level. A lot of us haven't even made it to the 3D level. But if you can imagine, like I told you, 4D is about 16 times bigger than 3D, and 5D, which will be right here, is about 30 times bigger than 4D. So if you go from a 3D consciousness to a 5D consciousness, that's how much more expansion, how much more room you got for your conscious mind to have thoughts. Right here, this is basically not thinking at all. And this is very, very limited thinking. And now you see you got all this space for all these different places to think. And I can't draw a 4 or 5D, but if I had it, you could imagine how much more expansive your paradigms can be. So when you're in a 3D dimension, mind consciousness, your thinking is going to be linear. Every time you think about something or want to do something, or even if you have a problem, you're only going to have one solution. You're only going to see things one way. When I was sick, people started spreading rumors, saying, "Oh, she's smoking drugs, or she has the AIDS, or just things." And initially, I took it personal, but then I realized that it's based on they weren't judging me. It was a reflection of their limited minds, of their limited consciousness, of their limited paradigms, and in their mind, the multiple potentials for me looking the way that I look, the potential for me looking the way I look, there weren't multiple potentials for them. For them, there was one potential. There was one paradigm for me to come out looking this way. For some people, if that's the person's looking that way, then they're on drugs. For another person, the person looking that way, then they have AIDS. And for another person looking that way, they're crazy. Whatever happens, whatever exists for you in your thinking is the only thing that you're going to be able to put forth to anyone else. One of the things that I like to say is you get what you give out. When I was sick, I felt like everyone left me for dead. And I wanted love so bad. And then I realized, if I want love, I have to put love out. And it's so crazy because now I put love out. And I get so much love. And I don't necessarily always get it from the people or how I want it from certain people, but it actually comes back to me. And it's an amazing feeling to know that all came from me just putting it out there. Before, most of the time we want something, we want love, and we want people to come and give us that love, but we want somebody to give it to us first. But in order for somebody to give you something, they have to first feel that you're worthy of receiving that. And in today's time that we all live in 3D linear thinking. We all have this limited paradigm. Most of us, should I say, we don't have that 5D consciousness. So when a person comes up to you and they seem to have a negative vibe, you instantly take it personally. You instantly take it as that's against me, that person's mad at me. And so then you miss the positive interaction with the person. You create this problem that didn't exist because of your limited consciousness, because of your limited paradigm. When actually, if you probably thought about it, they probably had a bad day. Maybe they actually need me to say something nice to them. Maybe they need to hear a joke. It's just the way that you perceive things. I gave a good example of I went live on Instagram. I gave an example of the kids waiting for their mom to come home. He didn't do the dishes. The whole time, he's focusing on, when my mom come home, she's going to go crazy, she's going to go off, blah, 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 and whatever. But he could have changed his paradigm, and he could have just said, hey, I didn't do it, sorry, I'll do it later, I got caught up doing something else, and things could have changed. But you have to realize, even in that moment, you're focusing on that, you're going to manifest what you focus on. So whatever your paradigms are limited to is all that you can manifest. You can't focus on what you don't know. I like to say, you don't know what you don't know. And that's another thing, is like for slaves who were in freedom. If they didn't know what freedom was, they didn't start to act for freedom until they realized that they weren't free. You can't expect someone to be, that's why it's okay to be ignorant. Because you are, if you're a slave and you don't know that you're a slave and you're ignorant about that you're a slave, then you can't be free until you admit that you're ignorant about being enslaved in the first place. So that's the first thing I like to say also. You can't heal what you don't reveal. So you don't know what you don't know. And as you start to even think about, you can't even think about what you don't know in linear 3D. You can't think about it. So it's crazy because in order to think in 5D, which is so complicated, you kind of need knowledge. You kind of need a foundation, and that's what we're missing. In Eastern educational systems, they have their foundation. They actually teach them spiritual knowledge. And that actually builds on to academic knowledge. What we call academic knowledge is actually considered spiritual knowledge in Eastern educational systems. They teach them all of this stuff and how it connects to the mind and how it controls the mind. Ayurvedic, I never say that word right, but the Ayurvedics, they do that. They do that with the yoga and with the eating. Everything they do is to a science. It's to a T. It's because they understand that they are in this higher consciousness. And to remain in that higher consciousness, to keep that up, there's a lot of different things that happen inside of the body. I'm going to go to this where I like to talk about the ego and the soul. So the ego is what we call the physical. It dies one death. The soul is what I like to call, it's the physical, but it's the physical that is not readily or easily seen. And I'm going to connect that to the DNA. And I'm going to tell you how that connects to this, and how it connects to your limited thinking. If you're living in the ego, you're living in the physical, which is in the now. Your soul is connected to your DNA. Your DNA is connected to your consciousness. Your consciousness is connected to the universe. The universe is connected to the Creator. The Creator is connected to creation. So you are part of creation. So your DNA goes back to the first creation. Every time your parents have another child, their DNA goes into that child. When your grandparents had their parents, their DNA went to those parents. So when the first creation that happened, the first DNA that ever existed is in you. It's in all of us. That is your soul. That is your Akashic records. That is your history. That is your connection to the universe. That is what you have to learn how to tap into to be able to learn who you are. That is where you learn who you are. That is where you understand who you are. That is the unseen part of you. And if you can imagine thousands of years ago, people didn't believe that they had blood running through their veins. That's unseen. That's not something that actually, like DNA. You can't see the DNA. You can see the blood. Then you read the Bible and they say it's about the blood. It's about the blood. It's about the DNA. That's the secret. The DNA is actually the soul. It's what passes on from generation. It's the essence. It's the essence of your life. So if you understand that the essence of your life is in your soul, in your DNA, then you know that everything that you need is already within you. Because everything that was created in the beginning of creation is within you. So you have the ability and the power to create. So I'm going to get started with the presentation, Become a Powerful Creator. And I'm going to go forward and I'm going to go back and forth between the notes and the lecture. This is my first time doing this live, so I just want to kind of go off of the feelings and not kind of really so much off of the words. So, the first thing I want to say is, what is creation? And I had a word that I meant to write up here and it's missing. And it's probably the most important word of the day, and that word is purpose. Purpose. Because a lot of us are here for a purpose, to find our purpose, to serve our purpose, to live our purpose, to accomplish our purpose. That is what success is. I like to say a synonym for success is peace. A lot of us don't have peace because we don't have success. And success comes as long as you're doing your purpose. And you don't have to have accomplished your purpose to be successful. You just have to find it. So where I come from with that is because a lot of people are like, well, how do you find your purpose? I've been looking for my purpose. I don't look high and low and left and right. Dark, light, where was it? Did I miss it? Did it come knock on the door? Was I asleep? What happened? No. Oh, lady, actually, I'm sorry, I'm thinking wrong. You were asleep. You were asleep. It was a dream. It came in a dream. It came in a dream. But here we go. We're going to connect back to dimensions. You had the dream. You had the vision. But you had a limited consciousness. You don't know what you don't know, right? So you had this dream. The only thing that you remember about the dream was you was running. You didn't see the lights flashing over there, and that was the magnets blooming, and the computer numbers trickling over their side, outside and you just see the trees blowing over here and something special going out in the ground and how you were supposed to create and grow up. But because you don't understand all of the other things going on, you only are perceiving what you know. You have this dream. You had your vision. It's come to you. It's haunting you. You keep having it. You keep having the dream that you got killed. And all you remember is that you got killed. But that ain't even what the dream is about. The dream is about everything in there that you don't know. And so every time you go back into the dream, you're supposed to grab something else out. The person that was chasing you, you grab and you pull them out with you. Everything that you know, every time you bring it back, you manifest it. What you know, you manifest it until you start to know what's not there, until you start to know. And that's how you create the multiple potentials. You need more paradigms. You need more paradigms to understand what you saw. You may have seen a light, but it may mean the speed of light. It may be a part of an equation. It may mean something else. Like you have to know that these things all mean other things, and that one thing just doesn't mean one. That's why words have synonyms. That's why words have multiple meanings. Even words are divided. The words that are one thing are the words that have one meaning. No synonyms. The, at. Those are linear words. 3D words. Synchronicity. Manifestation. Destiny. Success. 5D words. Purpose. 5D words. So yes, your purpose ain't going out and look for your purpose. Your purpose came to you. It comes to you. But you have to meet it. You have to meet it. I like to say manifestation is about matching your frequency to the frequency of the thing that which you wish to manifest. Yes. You have to meet your vision. And if you are in 3D and the vision is in 5D, because the vision comes from the soul. The soul is multidimensional. So if the soul is multidimensional, it can't be linear. It can't have one paradigm. It's multi-dimensional. It means it can jump to any one of these mothers and hang out and be cool. But it actually works best over here. And believe it or not, there's dimensions that even go past the 5th dimension. I'm just talking about that because that's just where our consciousness is right now in this consciousness shift that we're in. There's this thing that they have that they measure actually the consciousness of the earth. That's how you know they're paying attention, that they're watching. And they probably know who's lifting the consciousness. If they have it to a science to measure it, then they probably know how it's getting lifted. And that's how they know we just jumped again on September 11th. We just jumped again. We just shifted again. So every time you shift on the map, you can see more. Just in 3D, your husband come home like he's tired, he was worried, he was in traffic. 5, I need to sit on the phone with her like texting. You know what I'm saying? You can see. They talk about 6 senses. And then one of the things of the 6 senses is sight. Is being able to see remote viewing. You have something they call deja vu. You have it already. You just don't know what you don't know. Deja vu is you seeing into the future. How do you think that happens? By chance? And when it happens, like, this is deja vu. No, you saw the future. You just didn't know you could see the future. You didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. So, it's a reason you don't know, because that makes you powerful. So if somebody keeps your power from you, that makes you powerless. And if you're powerless, that automatically makes the person that makes you powerless powerful. Whether they have more power, they don't have to have more power. You just have to have less power. So that's the trick right there. It's a paradigm for you right there. Powerful. Your mind is thinking a powerful person has more power than you. No, it just means you have less power than you, because we all can have the same much power. Can't nobody have no more power than the other, but you can have less. We all started with the same, but you can relinquish. You can give it away. You can just forget about it. Don't use it. So, what is creation? Creation is a materialization of that which doesn't already exist. It comes in your vision. We all have vision. We all have a dream and ideas. Small voice communicates to us. That's your soul. Try to say, hey, that's your purpose. I got your purpose. You want this purpose? As you want this purpose, expression. Often we feel and express desire to share those abstract thoughts with others. And they be like, girl, you crazy. You can't do that. You is not going to be able to do no box braids. What? Girl, you sound crazy. They know they got box braids. Oh, okay. Sorry about blocking the screen. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I want to share with those people, and that's not the first thing you want to do. You don't want to share those thoughts with everyone. You got to be careful with your vision, because you're still in 3D, first of all, or maybe in 4D. And sometimes you can be in 5D, but as soon as you find your vision, something's going to come to try to stop you and block you from manifesting that vision. They say the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I like to say he comes to steal, kill, and destroy your vision. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be having your vision protected. That is your essence. That is what you're here for. That's your wealth. That's your everything. That purpose. That is your sanity. That's everything. And so you have to protect that. So we often feel like we want to express that, but you got to be careful when you express that vision too. Or have a lot of grounding in your vision that if you express it and somebody's not accepting of it, that you just don't let that knock you down. So then you have to transfer it. So you know, walls fall short of explaining our observations to others. So you can't transfer what you saw to them. They didn't see it. Can't nobody believe what you saw, and they didn't see it. You ain't got no witness. Can't nobody witness your dreams but you. Nobody has to believe it but you. Why? Because nobody's seen it but you. If you go look at all the artists and the people that made it in life, and go look at their behind-the-scenes interview, they'll tell you the reason that they made it because they saw it. And no matter what nobody said, that they wouldn't stop. They kept going and saw the vision. And they told people, some people didn't believe, they stopped telling people. And then they found the right people to tell. And now, once you start finding the right people to tell, what happens is, we find out why we create. You wish to communicate your observations to other people. So you find the right people to communicate your observations to. Your eyes are open. You have ineffectively pierced the veil. You don't know that you pierced the veil. You're seeing the vision, but you don't know what you don't know. So you still in 3D thinking you just have dreams. Thinking you're tripping. You're high. You're sleepy. Something ain't right. I don't know. I keep having these thoughts. So these thoughts just keep on intrusively invading my consciousness. I don't even know why I keep thinking about going to school, fixing on cars, and I keep having this dream about me making this car called the Lrgourl. I don't know where I came up with that word. You feel me? You see what I'm saying? So your eyes are open. You saw your vision, and it keep coming, but you don't really know. So that's why you have ineffectively pierced the veil. You see it, but you don't know. You can't do nothing effective with it because you don't know what you don't know. You're still in 3D. So your reality now is warped. You have time travel to a parallel system. You see yourself successful, suited and booted, taking pictures by the Maserati and people in the pool with heck the fine ladies and drinking all the fine wine and cheese and everything you could dream. You seen it. You traveled there. You need it now. It's like food. It's like air. It's like water. Now people think you crazy. Because I'm going to give you an example when I started this record label. When I got sick, I couldn't work no more, I started the record label. It was a vision. It came to me. Nobody else had to believe it. It ain't big or nothing like that. But it's not a failure. You know what I'm saying? I did it. I manifested it. I created it. And so, you know what I'm saying? I saw it in the vision. And when I started doing, you shouldn't do that. And you know that? I took my kids all over the world. We traveled all over the world. In their mind, success was, oh, you got to get a big record label and make a lot of money and do this, and that. But in my mind, success was performing in front of people, sharing our gift, what we work with, and being able to bring that forth to the world. So that's what that was about. So once I traveled and I saw it, nothing was telling me that wasn't for me. Even though the person that I was never did music in my life, I was an X-ray tech. But I knew I loved music. For some of my whole life, I loved music. I didn't know why. I can't dance. I finally got a beat now, too. I used to couldn't even get the beat. You feel me? So you just don't know. And sometimes it don't even seem like it lined up with who you are. Sometimes your purpose don't line up with who you think you are. Because you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know who you are. So you can't even know how to line up with your purpose yet. So you have this altered existence now. You experience another version of yourself. How do you just go back to being the regular old you who just saw you just laying on your mama's couch all day? Who thought you wasn't even able to solve a 1 + 1 equation without thinking hard? Now you are seeing yourself building cars, Kadali? Me? So who is a creator? Anyone who produces their observations for others to see. So anybody's a creator. But you're not a creator until you're able to produce produce that observation. A lot of times people think that producing observation means you got to actually build that car you got to drive. No, you can draw it. And I'm going to get to that. The ability to design what you deserve. Design. I didn't say produce it. Just design it. Give me a drafting of it. You got to be able to replicate what you've seen. If you can't know what you've seen, you better go take an art class. And be able to draw your vision so somebody who knows what you've seen can tell you, oh, you're an engineer. Oh, you're an artist. Oh, you do music. Oh, that's what this means. Somebody else can interpret that for you. So you have to figure out a way to manifest that design however you have to. Go get you a dream person and start and get your artist and dictate to them what you saw, and so they can recreate it. But you have to get the design down. And so one who puts the work in over a period of time to produce what is observed. So you got to put that work in. You got to go find that person or that way to create that design. Because nothing happens until you manifest it into the physical. It's just a thought. And the physical doesn't have to be a production of that actual thing, but just something that someone else can see besides you. The power to do the work, produce will observe. That's when you come up with the design. So how do you create? And that's when you manifest what doesn't exist. First, you have to have trust. Trust in yourself. You have to believe what you see. Like I told you, when you start telling other people about what you saw and they didn't see your vision, they're going to start telling you, maybe you didn't see what you thought you saw, Ted. You know what I'm saying? People are going to start saying you crazy. You lost your mind, you know. That don't even sound like you. I don't even think Ted himself no more. He thought I was going to build a car because Ted don't even know what's on. You know, people going to judge you. They going to try to tell you what you can't do, who you can't be. Because first of all, they didn't see it, and then what they have seen don't match up with what you're seeing you finna be. Sorry. Who is he finna be? You're not finna be who you saying you finna be. So once you believe what you see, you gotta synchronize yourself. I heard this word from a cousin of mine the other day, and it was a powerful word, and she said synchron destiny. And I was like, I hadn't even heard that term before, but I loved it. It was like you gotta sync up with your destiny. Like link up, sync up with your destiny, but your destiny, your purpose, you know? So once you know your purpose, that was your vision. Now I'm telling you what your purpose is, you know it. Now you gotta synchronize yourself with your purpose. You gotta align yourself with what you see. So if you want to build this cadet car, you need to go to motor engineering school, auto mechanics drafting school, all that stuff. That's how you start aligning yourself. Even if you don't go to that school, then you need to go to the library and pick up the books to learn how to do it yourself. You don't always have to go to somebody's school to learn a gift, but you gotta learn the gift. You know what I'm saying? But the potential, you have multiple potential to learn a gift in many different ways. And because it's already in your DNA, in your soul, in your Akashic records, as soon as you start working to manifest that gift, it's going to start coming to you like magic. Like you just already knew. You know, like your first time cooking, your mama's acting like she's telling you, now you throwing extra ingredients in and shit come out better than hers. Hold on, really? That's how it is. You know, you got to be active, you got to live in your creation. You got to get up every day and be in that kadali in your head. You got to be in it. Or look at that, your friend drew it, the drafter drew it, whoever drew it, somebody built you a model. Every day you wake up and you picture yourself, how will I make that part? It's going to be fiberglass, how the seat's going to look, how the steering wheel going to be. When you grip it, is it going to have those little ripples on it that you'll put your fingers into, or it's just going to be butter soft, it's going to melt in your hand. You got to think of the details. You got to live in your creation. You got to live in it. I mean, even though you saw your vision that's what you're going to do, you still got to live in it. You got to get detailed with it. Now you got to start seeing details. You got to go up in there and be like looking under the hood. Like how many nuts and bolts and how many spark plugs in that thing. You got to get in your dream and live in your dream while you sleep. You got to believe in it and then you got to live in it. If you don't live in it, you can't expect nobody else to live in it. Should I go back? Should I go too far? Hold on. So after creation, this is, you might not have produced your creation, but you produced design. You have to prove your creation exists. You have to show it to people. You have to display your design, your picture. You put your picture on the wall, your draft, your model. You display that for people to see. You have to prove it. They have to experience your creation. They have to be able to touch it. If you came out with a shoe, they want that shoe on your foot. They don't want the shoe to sit on the table. I want to see you be able to put your foot in that mud. Because it could just be a shoe with no hole in it. It could just look like a shoe. It could be the shape of a shoe. I want to put my foot in the shoe. How do I stay on my foot? How do my feet feel when I stand up in the shoe? You know what I'm saying? So people want to experience your creation. So you have to produce it. You have to reproduce it. You have to reproduce your creation for others. The examples of creation. People think creation is just this big thing, manifestation. It just sounds scary. But that's why you have to conquer fear. You can't be afraid of anything. You can't let a word or a phrase or a thought or an experience put fear into you. You have to face every challenge in life with the feeling that not with a win or lose thought, with just the thought that I'm going through an experience. And what am I going to gain from this experience? You're going to always gain something from every experience, and that's what you have to do with everything you do. So for creation, it's simple. And these are just examples from my mind. You can create anything you can dream of. I have a song, a video, a poem, a book, a building, a bridge, a vehicle, a baby. Everybody know how to make a baby. That's why I put that on there, because that to me was the simplest thing. For example, lifestyle, a brand, a theme, a game, a dish. We exist to create. Creation is power. Creation is power. Creation is power. I'm going to get to a little bit of physics on you right now. Quantum. Quantum means energy. Quantum means multi-dimensional. Quantum physics. You got classical physics and you got quantum physics. Classical physics kind of deals with the material things that you see, where quantum physics kind of deals with the things that you can't see. Energy, how it moves, forces. One of those forces, power. You hear this word all the time. Actually, 50 Cent has a hit show called Power. That's one of the biggest forces that we don't conceive or believe that these forces act on us. We know these forces, but we don't know these forces act on us as human beings. But we talk about, I wish I had power, or those people got all the power. You say these things, you use these words in the right context. But because you're greedy, with a limited paradigm and limited thinking, you don't realize that this same power that you are calling power, that you are giving to other people, is the same power that powers your television, the same power that powers the world. It's power, and there's actually a formula for it. It's work over the force times distance. Work over force times distance. Power equals work over time. Force times distance is time. Power, P is equal to power, W is equal to work done, T is equal to time taken. So basically, if you realize that we all have the power, but it's how much work you're willing to do over how much time. So the more work, if this was an 8 and this was a 2, if you put in 8 hours of 8 units of work in 2 hours, you're going to have 4 units of power. If you put in 4 units of work for 4 hours of time, you're going to have 1 unit of power. So you got to work really, really more than the time that you put in. It might not seem, it's hard to explain, but work again is force times distance. Force times distance. So work is the amount of effort expended over the hour of numbers put in. That's what work is. That's what work is. Work is the amount of effort expended over the number of hours put in. So we all have the power. It's just a matter of, are you willing to put in the work over the amount of time that it will take to get the amount of power that it needs to create the thing that you wish to manifest? I had this thing that I said we were all created equal. And if we were all created equal, that means that we all have the power. power to love ourselves, power to govern ourselves, and the power to manifest our heart's desires. We all have the power. It's science, it's physics, it's energy. It's a part of our manifestation ability. I have here like for power, I got the wavelength, and I have the frequency and the vibration and the speed. Let's see what's on the next slide. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about real quick, like while I'm on the power, about frequency, vibration, and speed. The wavelength or the frequency, we have frequency up there, I don't know or not, but frequency is basically the wavelength is something that's basically the size of the oscillation. That's the frequency. The wavelength of it is the size of its oscillation. The frequency is the amount of how much it's oscillating, and then the vibe is how much it's oscillating, and then the speed is how fast it's oscillating. That's so complicated, and that's what physics is. It's a very complicated field to understand. And then speed or velocity, and that's something that we usually look at as for position, how long it takes to get from one place to another. But if you could think of it in a paradigm, then me and you are different speeds in life. So speed is not always from one person, from one position to another. Speed is a relative. It determines how something is relative to something else. The difference in speed. It's a difference in relativity. Kind of difficult, and that's how physics pretty much is. Hold on, take a break. There. Alright, so about 15 minutes left, we're almost done with this first lecture here. So what is it that you will create? You have to ask yourself, is it going to be a flying vehicle? Because they say that's coming in the future. Sustainable energy, which is something that we really need right now with the energy crisis going on in the world. Virtual communication, which is actually happening right now. Augmented reality, artificial intelligence is already in the works. Facebook has it, they have it on media, facial recognition apps everywhere. So virtual communication has already began. Flying vehicles probably has already began. Sustainable energy has probably already began. But as we go through life, those things are going to be more efficient. So you can be the person that creates the more efficient version. Are you going to create the next app, the next diet, the next shoe, or the next hit song? Only you know what you've seen. Stop here, creation process is the most important part. The creation process is pretty well defined. As I said earlier, I kind of explained it to you, but now I'm going to kind of give it to you more detail of how each part of the process of bringing that manifestation works. And this is also engineering. You can probably go look into engineering, and this same, and that's what you'll learn, is the system of manifestation is the same as the physical system that it is in the unseen system. So this is the same kind of process that happens in engineering when you want to create something from dust. So same thing kind of happens with the consciousness. So at first the creation process, you express the design in 2D. It's flat. It exists on a piece of paper or a digital screen only. So this is a 2D. This presentation is a 2D presentation. This is a manifestation of motivational speech. I had an idea to create this motivational speech to help people learn how to become a powerful creator. And I came up with this whole format, and this is my creation for you to see. Now you see, I share my creation with you. This is one of my creations, this PowerPoint presentation. You're actually looking at a creation in 2D form. The 3D form is me sitting up here presenting. Flat exists on paper screen only, definitely no longer just your imagination. Others can see. You guys can see my presentation without me presenting it. A drafter draws the design, 3D, clear definition, detailed model that can be held and seen from all sides. Others can touch it. An engineer builds the design. It's alive. It's 4D. Functioning holographic design that can be used to do work
create power or others can experience it. That's when it's come to life. And when I say an engineer builds it, sometimes you may not consider yourself an engineer. No, you're an engineer. You don't know what you don't know. If you build things, if you create things, if you took your mama's TV apart and built a radio or a fan, you're an engineer. You just don't know what you don't know. So when I say engineer builds, that don't mean you have to go and look out and seek out and pay some engineer. Your cousin probably builds stuff and you just don't consider him an engineer. He didn't get educated in it. He has a natural gift, a natural affinity for it. So someone that has the ability to bring forth your vision is the engineer. And 4D is when it's alive. When others can not only just see it and touch from all sides, but they can experience it. It can do work. It can create other creations. So once you create, you have to realize that it's all about the whole purpose, the whole reason for your purpose is for community. If your gift is for you, then it's really a gift. So your gift is to bring about unity. Unity helps us bring about creation. We all need each other as creators. More creators do more work over time with more power. That is to say that in order for me to see the vision, and then I find somebody who can draw the vision, and somebody who can create the vision, we can do this in unity and nobody has to be paid. It's not always about the money. It's about helping someone else come to their purpose, manifest their purpose, helping someone else get to their peace, and someone help you get to your peace. It's not always about the money, the dollar. When I got a job in January, a friend of mine said, "Girl, you gonna be rich?" I said, "I'm already rich." She said, "What you wrote?" I said, "Because for me, rich ain't probably what you think is rich. For me, being rich is being able to get up every day and bless God